With the rise of digital FPV, a lot of people are asking, is analog FPV dead in 2024, or is there some hope for us analog pilots out there? And that's what we're going to show you today. G'day, you absolute legends. Stu here from UAVfutures. Thanks for tuning in to this important video, and we are talking about, is analog in 2024 actually dead, or is there some hope left? Thanks to this bad boy right here. These are the Skyzone O4Xs, and they truly might be analog's last stand. Ever since DJI released their first digital back in like 2019 or whatever it was, the market has been steadily shifting towards getting as many pilots as they can experiencing and enjoying digital FPV. Today, however, there is still a lot of people out there who not only still fly analog, but actually prefer analog. I know the market is shifting, but there is something to be said for those old school analog modules, analog drones that you just cannot get or you cannot replicate with today's digital options. This is the last stand I believe that analog has. It is the Skyzone O4Xs, and let me tell you, O4XPROs, and let me tell you, this is not a budget goggle. This is not a beginner goggle. This is not a premium tech goggle. This here is a goggle for the purists, the analog purists out there who want the best analog goggle possible that they can fly around with and enjoy. They do not care or want digital. Maybe they've got some other digital. Maybe they've got a wall of quads behind them that they don't want to have to convert, because let's be honest, it costs a lot of money to convert over to digital. So this right here, the O4XPROs from Skyzones, we're going to be going through them. We're going to be looking at the text and the specs. We're going to go out to the field. We're going to show you exactly how they perform. They've got some great features in here. We're going to hand them over to some other pilots. I think Steve is out there as well. And then we're going to talk about the big one, and is it enough to save analog in 2024? Is it going to be going anywhere? Who should get these goggles? Because believe me, the price tag and the market, I believe, is small, but I don't think that it is, it still does have a place, especially for people like me, who I still really do enjoy analog. And we're talking about it compared to some digital options and what you should get, all that sort of stuff. And having fun, you know, that's probably the main part. So stick around, and if you haven't subscribed, please do, because it does mean a lot to this channel. Heaps of going. I am also going to put my Patreon down below if you enjoy this video. Okay, but let's get on with the fun stuff. So what are these? The O4XPROs from Skyzones are the premium analog goggle on the market. They are top of the line FPV analog goggles with a ton of features. What we're going to do, let's go through the specs of these things. The big one, these screens in here, picture this, these things are massive. We have a 52-degree field of view screen. It is a beautiful OLED screen that is a 1080 or 1920 times 1080p. Gorgeous looking screen. It's almost too good looking for analog. It's very big, it's very bright. There is tons of options in the features as well inside the menu. Of course, we've got our standard Skyzone layout, which is among the best that has ever been made on the market. So we've got our standard, I guess, little diopters and focal adjustments, all that sort of stuff. In the manual, it says it can go from +2 to -6, or maybe it's -6 to +2. I'll put it on the screen anyway. Around the outside, we've got a little USB connection. We have our head tracker out. Of course, it can run on our normal voltage. It comes with like a little cable. We've got a HDMI in, which is very important if you're looking at upgrading these goggles, maybe. A little SD card. We've got our AV port right here and some headphones. And I don't know how many people out there, do you fly around with headphones? Like, is that still a thing? Around the outside, it's very simple stuff. We've only got 2 antennas here, and it is using their steady view receiver. It does not have quad diversity, which is fine because look, most people didn't use that anyway, because over here, we've got our head tracker unit and a big fan built in as well. 2 little buttons, and it's very, very easy to cycle through. Of course, flipping it over, you do get a bunch of different faceplates. I like that Skyzone has sort of moved away from the skinny pieces that they used to use on their old goggles. We've got some big, nice, juicy bands right here. It's very comfortable on your face. So right there. And one of the parts I like as well, when you turn this on, it just kind of works. Like, it's very quick to go through the menu, have some fun, to get up and get flying. Now, a big part for this, here's the one that I think a lot of people's jaws are going to hit the floor. This thing, it is $500 US. And I know what a lot of people are going to be saying. Stuart, I could get a pair of digital goggles for less than that. And yes, you would be right. If we're looking at something like the Cadex X walk snail goggles right here, they are cheaper. They offer digital. However, this doesn't care about that. Skyzone doesn't care about those people who want to go digital. They have made a goggle which is purely after the analog market. They want the best of the best experience they can get. And I've got to say, this is kind of it. So what we're going to do now, let's go out to the field, we're going to fly it around, and then we're going to come back inside, talk about the pros or cons, the things I like, the things I didn't like, all that sort of stuff. Oh, and I should say too, the link's in the description down below. It did come with some dodgy antennas and some cables and that kind of boring stuff. You can, if you're really interested in that, you can go check that out. But I thought I'd save you some time and just talk about the good stuff. So let's do it. Let's go out to the field, show you my experiences, show you some DVR, and then cut back in 3, 2, 1. Whoop.
Everyone thinks we do walk around with kangaroos and whatever, but yeah, there we go. There's old Skippy just staring at me, the bush kangaroo. Let's do it. We got Steve in the background, and I got to give him a shout out today because I'm flying his drone. Good old one of Tommy's remixes right there. We've got some bush kangaroos in the background, but what you're here for is this. What's analog like in 2024? The new Skyzones, the O4XPROs, I think, yeah. Skyzone O4XPROs, I did get it right. I'm going to show you the DVR, show you my impressions, have a discussion about analog, which you do want to hear, and then we'll hand it over to Steve as well, who flies both digital and analog, and see what he thinks, because these are pretty much the top of the line, but also some of the most expensive goggles on the market. So let's do it, have some fun, bring you guys along. First thing I do want to mention, nice radio, Steve. I don't know where you got that from. I do like the big bands they have started putting on the back of Skyzones. I've been doing that for a little while. Much nicer than the thin bands just have on my O2Xs. But the O4s, let's turn them on. And it has an absolute massive screen. So it feels like it really is one of the biggest screens I think I've ever seen. Let's get my DVR working. Do you know what channel you're on, Steve?
No idea, mate.
All right, I'm sure I'll be able to find it. Would it be a race band channel?
I think so.
Very easy to use menus. I just got to say, while it's on my face like this, I'm not getting any interference from like outside light leakage or anything like that. Is that, where is that noise coming from? Is that here?
From your fan, maybe?
That fan is pumping.
Good meter away.
Yeah, so that fan is super noisy. Everybody's clear. The drone is facing away from me. Let's go for a little rip. The drone is looking out that way. Ooh, few little gremlins. All right, let's go for a spin, see what we can find. And I'm not going to do too much intense, crazy flying. Just cruising around. Man, the picture though, I can't complain. It does look very nice. We're rocking a 4x3 here, which is kind of interesting because the screen is absolutely massive. It almost looks like you've got two black bars at the side, but that is that's the camera that's actually on here. So it feels like this is even bigger looking at it than the camera. Let's cruise through these little trees. Now, one of the things everybody's going to mention is this worth it when it comes to digital? And this is where I have loved Skyzone from some of their very first products. I've been a big advocate for them. I love what they did for the hobby. But nowadays, when you can get, for the same amount of money, you can get a pair of digital, I do not see why people would want a pair of goggles like this unless you are, well, even if you're getting hardcore into racing, you're probably going to be using HD Zero goggles anyway. So I'm not 100% sure who these goggles are aimed at, and especially for their price as well. I feel like the days of Skyzone, it might be like riding around a horse when the car started to come along and Henry Ford said, yep, here we go. That's kind of how it feels with these goggles as well. As far as they function as an analog pair of goggles, they are gorgeous, they fit nicely. I love the menus, they've got a lot of options. These screens are like IMAX cinema screens, but it's a hard sell now in today's analog market. The cool things I do think Skyzone has done though, they do have that screen as well. I'm not sure if you've seen this on my channel yet or if I'm about to release it, but they have a manual, like little external screen you can bring along for analog. That I think definitely has more of a market than this. For me, it's a lot of money for a great pair of goggles, but the technology is kind of moved on. Anyway, what we should do, I'm going to bring it in, hand it over to Steve, and we'll get his impressions as well, because he is flying around with a pair of Skyzones. but you've put some walk snail receivers on them. So let me come in for a landing. Where are we? It is always sketchy trying to land someone else's drone with the arm switch. Blop.
Beautiful.
All right. Now, do I have a mark on my nose? I feel like it was pretty tight when I was putting it on there. So if these were my everyday goggles, they definitely need to be loosened. Nice big strap though, and I would prefer tight than, you know, being too loosey-goosey. We can read into that however you like. But let's do it. Let's send over to Steve, swap over the pack of the drone and see what he thinks. Steve, your turn on the new O4XPROs. What current goggles do you have though?
These are the O4L.
Okay. Yep,
Yeah,
the
V2s.
V2s, yes.
Pretty good. I've never had any issues with the clarity of the picture, and then going to the Walksnail VRX has been awesome.
Yep.
Super clear. I mentioned in one of your videos, I think previously, Stu, I suffer from the diopter adjustment where you get that little sort of overlap between the screens.
Yes.
Once it's on and it's running, it's not a problem, but it's just trying to get that focal point. It's the only complaint I have about them, honestly.
Okay. Have you had a good success with your Skyzone so far?
I love them.
Yep.
Love them. The way they fit, yeah, it's great.
All right, so this should be interesting to see if you notice the difference
Yeah.
or something. Because these are like 800 Aussie dollars. They're not cheap.
That's right.
So let's go for a rip and see what you think.
No worries. Holy cow.
What do you mean? Sorry, I was looking at the kangaroo. What's up?
That's a big wide screen, hey?
Okay, bigger than what you're currently used to?
Yeah. Yeah, this is more like the digital, the Walksnail goggles, just so wide.
Yes. I think,
Doesn't-
yeah, it's like 56 degrees
Yeah.
field of view or something.
It doesn't seem to stretch the image though.
No.
Everything looks pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
All right, I'm going to start the DVR.
You know,
I think that's this button on you. Just want to check if that's ticking away. Is it?
it's still rolling from yours.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Do you want me to just separate the file?
Sure. It's so good having a pilot that knows how to do things
Right.
like that and using Skyzone, because Skyzone's menu is very easy, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's beautiful.
And it's the same through all their goggles,
Yes,
right? I don't know
yes.
about the Cobras, but
Yeah. All right. Let's do it. I'll get you a little takeoff, and then we want to focus on the goggles,
I know. all
less
good?
about the old remix drone you've built here. All right,
know.
we're good, brother. Alrighty. So tell me the differences mainly that you're noticing between flying around your Skyzones versus this one.
The field of view.
Okay.
Field of view, I can't tell you what the O4s are offhand. I think maybe high 40s.
Yep.
And these are what, 56 or something?
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, the clarity's on par with any Skyzone I've ever worn.
So these are OLED as well.
Yeah, you can tell the brightness when you look up at the sky. And the colours in the greens, the grass and everything. Yeah, it's quite nice. And as far as analog goes, through my little journey in FPV, obviously started off fairly cheap and worked my way up to the Skyzones. But as far as analog goes for me, Skyzone have been probably the best performer for the money, for analog.
Yes.
And then the function capability of plugging HDMI mini into it just opens up a whole new world if you want to go that route.
Yeah, that's it. Your current goggles, you've got digital connected to your Skyzone.
I do, yeah, just with the VRX.
Yes.
Oh, nice tree flips.
I did see that. I wasn't looking that up there. Do they feel are they uncomfortable on your face, comfortable on your face, pinching your nose, light leakage,
Yep.
any of that?
Yeah, no light leakage.
Yep.
True to any Skyzone I've ever worn, but the faceplate I think may be different. From memory, they come with two faceplates.
They do.
So this one's a bit pinchy on my schnozzer, my nose, but apart from that, very nice fit around the eyes.
And what about reception?
Fine, absolutely fine. This is fine, yeah, all the way over the back side of the field. I'll have a look back.
Did you
Yeah.
just lose your telemetry?
Yeah.
Okay. You are a fair way out there. That's freaking me out.
Ducking behind the hill, mate.
All right. Did you get much breakup or anything over there?
No break-up in the video.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's
That
pretty
is
good.
Really good.
All right. And what about $800?
It's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, 800 Australia. It's probably like 500
Yeah.
US.
Yeah, behind the shed's getting a bit of static.
Yep.
Not too bad, you still see. So in comparison to, again, my journey in FPV, now I'm almost all in on Walksnail. If I was starting off now, I would honestly just spend that money on digital goggles.
Yep.
Honestly. And by the time you add up your VRX, your cameras, your antennas for analog, you're almost spending the same on a on a Walk Snail VTX or HD0 if you want that spicy stuff. But yeah, the price of the goggles for relatively old new tech is, I don't know if I could justify it.
All right, man, well, I'm going to let you finish your rip and then I'll ask you some questions once you bring it in. I'm getting worried. Okay, not bad, not bad. All right, I'll unplug and then if you want to stop that DVR. I think it's definitely, I've probably got it set way too tight as well.
Well, I loosened it.
Oh, did
I sneakily loosened it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just definitely feel that.
You do have a tiny little mark on your nose?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it. I don't know if maybe we should compare it to the holder.
Okay.
See if the padding's a bit thicker on the older ones.
What about the fan? Did you notice that when you were flying?
Yeah.
It's very loud.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, in saying that, the reception was great, so I guess it's doing its job, right?
Yeah, yes.
But even with the O4Ls, with the VRX, which has another fan, it's not even that loud. Two of them going compared to this.
Yes. Too easy.
Yeah.
All right, would you get it? Final thing, would you get it for 800 bucks Aussie? Would you get it for 500 US dollars?
I wouldn't, Stu, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Great goggles, but no, with digital on the rise and so affordable and accessible, same money for digital, mate.
All right, nice, thank you.
Radio, thank you very much, editing. Back in the studio, and this is the important part I need you to listen to, and Skyzone as well. These goggles, in the is analog dead in 2024, I'm going to say absolutely not. Like, I love analog FPV. I grew up, I started my journey here before I moved over to digital on analog FPV. Are these the answer? Are these going to save analog in 2024? No, I don't think analog is going anywhere, but these are not designed to do that. What these goggles are designed to save analog for those people who already love it. They want to get the best of the best out of their analog quads, and these goggles do that. They have a very expensive price tag. 600 bucks is absolutely no joke, or maybe it's 500 depending on where you look at getting some of these. But if you were coming into the hobby, said, Stu, I want a great FPV experience. That's what we're all about, is sharing FPV, getting as many people flying, and I'm sure you can agree. I would push people towards the Walk Snail X goggles. Like, that's digital, that's current tech. You're going to get some of the best, I guess, like just a great user experience using these. These goggles right here, this is the save analog for us old school pilots out there who have a wall of analog drones. You want to get the most out of it. You still like analog. You still maybe doing a lot of whoop racing or something like that, which you just cannot get with some of those tiny digital boards or anything like that. Nothing kind of beats an analog whoop. And this, I've got to say, thank you to Skyzone. It's not for everyone. It's not for most people. It's for us old school analog pilots out there who still enjoy analog. It's very expensive. But you're kind of paying for a bit of a premium right here because they're not cheap to make either. So anyway, what do you guys think? Because it's a tricky time. Do you fly analog? Do you fly digital? Would you make the switch? I know digital receivers and everything can be very expensive. I hate how digital kind of locks you into an ecosystem. I like the open source, or I guess the open frequencies, I should say, that you get with some old school analog stuff. It's got pros and cons, but I'm glad these goggles are here. However, in 2024, it's not going to save analog, but it is going to save it for people who still appreciate it. This is going to save that experience and just let us relish and cherish it a little bit more. Anyway, I'd love to know what you guys think. Drop your comments down below. Please subscribe for more FPV related content. If you have watched this far, I would greatly appreciate your Patreon support. I think we're almost up to 100 members or something like that. You can go check that out. The link should be up here. Subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying. The answer is no, analog's not dead, but I don't know if these are going to save it. It's just here to stay for a couple of purists out there.